Okay, I'm going to show you this video. This is it shows more about the problems,
While the rise in new
the social problems of urbanization. The last video talks about how the growth of cities and stuff like that, and that's cool, but it's very important to understand the social problems that come out of urbanization. So this video does a good job of explaining that.
machinery robbed some men of their jobs, it created new jobs for others. Mechanics and machine operators were now more in demand than craftsmen. The majority of these new positions were made available in the factories of the nation's largest cities. As New York, Chicago, and Boston grew outward along the railways, a host of previously unskilled laborers were trained to meet the new demand for factory workers. Disillusioned farmers who moved up from the country filled part of the need, as did young men who grew up in the country but dreamed of finding their fortune in the cities. City population swelled as a result. New York's population doubled, and Chicago's population quintupled. Even smaller cities boomed. Los Angeles had only 5,700 citizens in 1870. By 1900, the population was over 102,000. In the same period, the size of Philadelphia nearly doubled. Former country dwellers made up a large part of the new population in the cities. But the flood of immigrants entering the country also made up a large part of the new workforce. People from all parts of Europe were migrating to the United States in record numbers between 1870 and 1900. During the 1880s alone, around 5 million foreigners entered the country. Seeking political freedom and economic prosperity, most had to settle for difficult and dangerous low-paying factory jobs and cramped living quarters in filthy city tenement houses.
A tenement house is a multi-family house where you're going to have, it's not even really a house, it's an apartment, and you're looking at having like at least two families living in the same little apartment, and it's basically not more than one, maybe two rooms. And so very, very cramped is going to lead to unsanitary situations and close proximity to others, and so that's going to lead to a rise in disease. That's one of the social problems that comes about of this.
60-hour work weeks were not uncommon, and benefits such as pensions or workers' compensation were practically unheard of. As cities grew, the need for new buildings opened up another avenue for employment in construction. For the first time, steel was being used in mass quantities to create the skeletal frames upon which the city's tallest buildings were built. Called skyscrapers, these buildings were often 10 to 20 stories high, and they stood as symbols of power and the achievement of the American dream. But much of that dream was denied to the immigrants, most of whom lived in poverty in the city's slums. The unsanitary living conditions in these neighborhoods led to outbreaks of typhoid and cholera, which spread quickly throughout the overcrowded, poorly ventilated tenement apartments.
Okay, and so that's a better look at the urbanization social problems that come with it, and that's from number 17.